So in a huge surprise, Mac Brown gets to put his defense on the field first because Nick Saban surprised everyone by taking the ball and not deferring as we get ready. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, we've always thought through the years that some of the best moments in all of sport come just before the storm, just before the championship begins. So I want you to sit back now, and I want you to enjoy the images of what should be a terrific night here in Pasadena, but with your thoughts accompanying the sights and sounds. Our journey begins to the short man, and Alabama will put it in play around the 30-yard line. So a young man who grew up in Los Angeles.
So our great scene. You know how tough this ticket has been. I think that some of our favorite moments in all of sport, we get asked that question all the time, the moments just before a championship begins, whether it's football like we have here tonight or basketball. So let's just settle back and watch the Ducks, see what they can do as they return the opening kickoff against Avi and the Auburn Tigers. Kicks it off, and it'll be Huff slipping on the goal line as he comes out. Slips again, and he is down around the 15-yard line. So slipping and sliding, and not real good field position coming up here in the opening series for Darren Thomas, Herbie.
Thank you, Aaron. Herbie, there is one distinctive check mark for LSU. That's in the kicking game and the special teams, and they get to return the opening kickoff.
No doubt about it. And Tyrann Mathieu tonight will have a lot to do with that as far as trying to create opportunities. You look at the punter and the kicker from LSU and what they did in the first matchup. Brad Wing, Drew Alleman, they were the difference in the game.
So we settle back now with this crowd, and more than 50% represent LSU because it is so close to their campus. They picked up the extra tickets. There doesn't seem to be a question about that.
No, you look around this beautiful venue and you can see a lot of purple and gold, and you know it's not by accident. You go back and think about 07, they won a championship here, in 03, and their crowd had a lot to do with both of those championships against Oklahoma in 03 and Ohio State in 07.
So Cade Foster will put the ball on the tee, and as we get ready, folks, settle back and enjoy the sights and the sounds. The BCS championship is about to begin.
Claiborne, and he is brought down at the 28-yard line. So Jordan Jefferson, who was suspended for games earlier this season, was just...
Thank you very much. And that defense that you'll be hearing from tonight, and one of the leaders is Lewis Moore from Weatherford, Texas. The leader, of course, is number 5, Manti Te'o, in his final game, the young man from Honolulu. You know, Herbie, I mentioned that the Irish are a big underdog in this game. In some places 10 points, and they've only been 2 greater underdogs in the history of the BCS championship. The largest underdog was the Ohio State Buckeye team in 2003 when they played Miami. Before that, Florida State was an 11-point favorite over Oklahoma in 2001. And here's the good news for Notre Dame. Both of those favorites lost in those 2 games.
And I think Brian Kelly just brought an outstanding point up with Heather Cox, and that's mentioning the importance of starting fast. After a long layoff and you're a big underdog, the emotions in this building, it's electric. Notre Dame, when you're an underdog, they need to start fast and they need to have some success to get themselves to believe that they can go out and knock off Alabama.
We mentioned number 28, D. Milner, and he'll be a first-round draft choice. He is back deep to return this kickoff. Kyle Brenza, who's had a fine year for Notre Dame, has it on the tee. And another speedster, Christian Jones, who played so very well against LSU in New Orleans, is also back deep with Milner. So Brenza puts the ball on the tee on the 35-yard line, and settle down, everybody. This crowd is ready. Jones from the 1-yard line to the middle and out to about the 19-yard line. So here comes the redshirt junior from Mobile, Alabama. Played at St. Paul's Episcopal High School, A.J. McCarron.
Florida State deferring, so they'll have the first possession of our second half, and we will get to take a look here early at Nick Marshall and the Auburn attack. So Trey Mason will go back deep as one of the return men. Quan Bray, one of the wide receivers, is also back there with him, and the Lou Groza Award winner, Roberto Aguayo of Florida State, puts the ball on the tee as the smoke clears, and we get ready. Bray is told to stay right there. And here to help us introduce Auburn's starting quarterback is 2010 Heisman Trophy winner Cam Newton.
He says it with a smile, Kirk, with the typical Urban Meyer intensity, and he's been working with, along with Tom Herman, Cardale Jones, to get his head in the right place for this championship game.
Such a big part of the game is how Cardale will perform under this pressure. He performed so well against Alabama, and his best friend Ezekiel Elliott, Joey Bosa, the defensive line from Ohio State, also will be challenged, obviously, in a way that they've not seen all year. They've got to be able to deal with that tempo, and they're going to get a look at it right away.
Ducks always get the ball first because they take it when they win the toss, and the opponent typically defers. So we'll see Marcus Mariota against Bosa and company momentarily. Kyle Clinton, the fifth-year senior from Dublin, to kick it off and begin this first championship game of the playoff era. true freshman, Charles Nelson, the lone deep man for the Ducks at his goal line. Nelson will not test the Piranhas kickoff coverage team of Ohio State. They are excellence. And so here comes Mark. Thank you. Grew up in Pelham, Alabama. Was a special teamer on Alabama's championship team that stunned Miami in the Superdome. Kurt, let's take a look at each team's plan for success presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Chris will start with Alabama. First thing they've got to do is go back to running the football with Derrick Henry. Remember last week it was a lot of pass to Ridley. Tonight it's more of Derrick Henry. They got to prevent the big play. Make Clemson's offense drive the ball. For Clemson, simple. Number 4's got to be the X factor. Deshaun Watson running and throwing. And then a big key in this game, when you look at Alabama, when they've struggled, it's been on third down on both sides of the football.
So a walk-on. Freshman Greg Hugel from Blythewood, South Carolina will kick it off for the Tigers. Tide have Kenyon Drake and Richard Mullaney. Two key receivers deep. The national title in year 2 of the playoff. Fought for tonight in the desert. Hugel drives the kick into the end zone. Drake brings it out. And is knocked down. Good coverage by the Tigers. And that means Jake Coker, his one and only chance to shine, will get the football first. You know his story, beaten. All right, Tom, thank you. There's Sarkisian trying to exude calm in what must be an anxious moment and his 18-year-old quarterback. This is electric. A lot of fun. A fitting climax for this football season. The two best teams have muscled their way to Tampa. And someone's going to be kissing that trophy within the next 4 hours. Hugel to kick it away. Eric Dieter or Darius Stewart deep for the Tide. It's a short kick. And Stewart from the 12. And out escape, drop at the 25, and now we will see Jalen Hurts become just the second true freshman to win a national title. Big, strong guy, dual. No different, is it? To be the boss back at your alma mater, where you're an all-SEC defensive back, as opposed to being on the staff of Nick Saban.
In just 2 years.
Cool all week, hasn't he?
Just 2 years.
He feels the energy has returned to his team after spending a lot of it in that double OT in Pasadena. We were impressed by the energy in practice. You see Jake Fromm and the Georgia offense go to work. J.K. Scott, the punter and kickoff man, in his 7th playoff game. Think about that. But booted away. Mecole Hardman is a dangerous return man. One time he thought he was going to go to Bama. Flipped to Georgia. You keep an eye on number 7, Trayvon Diggs, who set the tone in last week's opening kickoff. Big tackle, number 7. Line drive kick, just barely a touchback and not out of bounds. So here comes Jake Fromm, took over.
Chris and Herbie, up to you.
All right, Tom, thank you. Saban had the choice, deferred, so he'll put his defense on the field against Trevor Lawrence. Starter since game 5 of the season. Kelly Bryant, whom he supplanted, transferring away.
See, he has 90 on his face for his partner Dexter Lawrence, who's not in this game. They came all this way together as a defensive line for this moment, only to have Dexter Lawrence out the last 2 games.
1 of 3 Tigers suspended for NCAA violation. So Joseph Bulovas, his parents did not want him to play football at all, but he said maybe I could be a kicker, and he convinced his parents to give it a shot. And he's a freshman, and he'll boot it away. Another true freshman is back deep for the Tigers, Darian Kendrick. Appreciate, don't hate their dominance. That's our advice. Settle in and enjoy the tide of the Tigers for the championship again. Fair catch, and the Tigers will take over at the 25 with their tall, deep-voiced quarterback from the state of Georgia.
Appreciate the time.
Go Tigers! The cut at Orgeron's head came from a punch that he gave himself after a practice to get his guys fired up. He's a unique individual, Kirk.
He really is. He has a team that is incredibly fired up against the old veteran Clemson team that's been there and done that. That leadership and experience would tend to give the advantage to the Clemson Tigers, but we'll see about the emotion of LSU here early.
Orgeron hoping for an early stop, hoping the crowd will continue to make life tough on Lawrence. They've got the busiest and the best kickoff man in the country. Avery Atkins, a sophomore from Auburn, Alabama, to boot it away. Travis Etienne hoping he'll have a chance against all odds to return this kick. Comes from Jennings, Louisiana, about 100 miles away. Tigers versus the Tigers for the title. Should be a lot of fun. It's a line drive that lands a few yards behind the end zone. So here comes Trevor Lawrence. Sublime performance against the... Savor the moment. Crimson Tide and the Buckeyes for the championship of this most challenging, surreal season. And McCall will make a fair catch. I'll tell you, there's so much history, there's so much psychology, so many subplots. Let's hope we get one that was like the one 4 years ago in Atlanta, partner. We'll take that.
I'll tell you what, man, we've been calling these national championships for a lot of years. I don't know if I've ever felt this kind of energy in a building leading up to the opening kickoff as I'm feeling right now.
Really? Even bigger than Atlanta?
Yeah, this is intense. These two teams have different agendas and different motivations to get them ready to try to win this game. You see Nakobe Dean's face from Georgia when he was out there for that coin toss?
All business.
All business on both sides.
Butkus Award winner be out there momentarily. Jake Camarda handles the punting, holding, and the kickoff duties. JoJo Earl, true freshman for Alabama, awaits at the goal line. It's a high kick, and Earl will wave for a fair catch. Here comes Bryce Young. Look at those numbers. 46. Short, simple answer. They feel like they have been the hunted as defending champions. They want to do the hunting tonight.
Well, that one word summed up the energy and the vibe around the Georgia team, I'm sure, the whole week leading up to this kick.
So Jack Podlesny will boot it away. A guy who didn't watch football growing up. He's not living his dream tonight. He was a baseball guy, but he's on a big stage, and he'll send it away. All the subplots, all the amazing stories of all these players, the unlikely journeys, defying odds, and they all collide on this stage with a trophy and a title at stake. Sit back and enjoy the Dogs and the Horned Frogs. Darius Davis, deep for TCU. A very dangerous returner, whether it's a punt or a kickoff. They kick it to him, and Davis will leave it in the end zone. And here comes Max Duggan. Lost his job in training camp, comes off the bench.